why you are in this business. Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for choosing me this morning. I realize you have a choice. It sounds like I'm in the airline industry when they say, we realize you've had a choice with who you fly with today. Thank you for flying Northwest. So, before I begin, I'll introduce myself and tell you a bit about myself, and then I'd love to hear either verbally or by a show of hands exactly who uses TWEN already, so I can sort of gauge the format of my performance and presentation here with you, depending on the knowledge levels that I have in the audience. So again, my name is Kelly Mickelson. I'm very pleased to be here with you today. I do work for the TWEN team in Eagan, Minnesota, and in my spare time, on the weekends, I'm actually an adjunct faculty member at Hamline University School of Law, where I teach legal research and writing in the weekend program. And so I actually use TWEN via that course. So what I have for you today here is a little bit of a PowerPoint presentation, and then I also plan to take you live throughout my robust, if you will, course that I just finished teaching from spring of 2008. To show you what you can do with the site, especially if you're a new user. So just a show of hands, who is currently using TWEN at their school? Okay, most of you. And are the representatives in the room here the folks that are the ones that are supporting all of the people using it at your school, or are you the faculty members that are using it yourselves? Both. Is that fair to say? Yes, ma'am. Both. Excellent. Okay, well, I'll start off fairly sort of basic and tell you what TWEN is for those folks who didn't raise their hand as those that are currently using TWEN. And then we'll speed up a little bit. If I lose you, you'd like me to focus a little bit more on one particular component of the site, I'm happy to do so. Otherwise, as you probably have seen, we do have a table set up in the product fair area. And we'll be here all day today and all day tomorrow, so we're happy to talk further about you and your school's needs. So TWEN at its core is an online extension of the classroom for you, your faculty, and your students. So even after you leave the classroom, this is a way for students and faculty to communicate with one another on a website. So what you're seeing here is the course homepage for my course over at Hamline. We have a module-like, almost iGoogle-like course homepage so that you can drag and drop these modules in whatever way you'd like to do so. Post important announcements, class cancellations, things of that nature that you'd like to be front and center for your students. You can upload pictures, YouTube videos, audio messages from your professor. This is fairly dynamic, and you can make it exactly what you'd like to. Some professors even like to put a picture of themselves on the front page. You'll notice that I opted for the snowy Minnesota building instead of the picture of myself. Over on the left navigation side here, and can everyone see this okay? Is the lighting all right? There are a variety of links at your disposal on the left-hand side, and that's where you will access the different components of the site. So we have a course materials section, and that, again, at its core, gives faculty and administrators the ability to upload course documents to the site. You can upload Excel files, PowerPoint files, PDF, Word, WordPerfect, whatever you need to upload here for your students. TWEN will accept that. You'll see that we just moved to a folder-style repository, so it's very Microsoft-like for everyone that's obviously familiar with using folders. Within folders, you can sort of categorize your class materials and then organize your course for the semester. So a lot of people even choose to make folders for week 1 assignments or week 2 group exercise. So you can customize this and drag and drop and maneuver these items in whatever way you'd like to on this page. Yes, sir?
If a faculty member wants to, let's say, record audio version of his lecture for
Yes.
each time and post it on TWEN? Does TWEN have the memory or the space on the server to host that kind of thing?
Sure. The question again for the audience and again for the tape is if a professor or faculty member decides to engage in podcasting or a recording of their lecture, does TWEN allow you the space to upload that as a course material? And the answer is yes. You have a 200 megabyte storage space limit. However, it only counts against you. So in other words, when you upload files, only files that are larger than 15 megs each count toward that 200 meg file. So you can sit at your desktop and upload 3 meg sound bites, lectures all day long, and that will never count against your 200 meg limit. So we offer, I think, plenty of space for people to be able to upload those materials. Obviously, there's a module for syllabus. You can upload your syllabus and any amendments to the syllabus over the course of the semester and have this be an easy access point for the students. This is one of my favorite features. It's an assignment Dropbox, so it essentially, if you choose, eliminates the need for students to print out paper copies of their assignments and submit them to you or to the registrar's office. So, as you can see, back on January 26th, my students had an arbitration research check-in assignment. So you create the assignments here in your grade book, and then when students are done with the assignment, they come here and submit it. And all of those files are stored for you here on TWEN. One of the brand new enhancements that we released this summer actually is called a batch download feature. So are any of you in the business of having to go in here and download these files for professors or downloading them for yourself? It's a pain. I only had 20 students in this class, and I found that to be one of the most sort of demands of my time that I didn't appreciate. So now, and I'll show this to you in just a second, now you can press one button for a batch download, and all of them are zipped up for you in a zip file, and then you can have, you have the option to save it to your desktop. And that's a one-stop shop for you again. It should free up plenty of your time so you can go back to grading those papers. There's a calendar feature on TWEN. So for instance, if there was an appellate brief due today in your class, when you set up that assignment in the assignment Dropbox area, you can flag it to be included in your course calendar. So you'll note here that, if I was a student, I could come in here and see a quick view of what all is going on in my class. Yes, ma'am?
Will the calendar show due dates and things for every TWEN class the student has? Precisely.
So there's a master course calendar on the very first page. So this is basically the first landing page that students come to, and any classes that their professors have in TWEN are listed here. So it might be torts, property law, criminal law. And this is the master calendar here. So those events for each class will be put on this master calendar, and they'll be color-coded, so the students can see at a quick glance which materials are due for what course. So back to the calendar. This is a very nice feature. We've actually gotten a lot of feedback over the past couple of weeks where institutions would like to be able to merge their event management system in with this calendar, so there could be something that would say, drop ad period ends here, or student organization fair occurs here. And we're always looking to integrate our systems with those kinds of institution systems, but you can imagine that requires a lot of development on our end. So we're hoping to get there sort of one step at a time. Email options, this is a very useful functionality for me in that all 20 of my students are available right here for me to email. And so all I have to do is click on all course participants, and I immediately get sort of an HTML type editor box here where I can push out an email to any or all of the students in my class. The wonderful thing is that from time to time, of course, you have assignments where, let's say you have 10 people that are counsel for plaintiff and 10 people that are counsel for defendant. And so it's nice to be able to group those folks in a way that you can have email groups. So the 10 people that are part of my plaintiff counsel, I simply just select them here. Oops, excuse me. Click Create Group and call it Counsel for Defendant, let's say. And here, for the rest of the semester, I have an easy, quick way to email all course participants in sort of subgroups. You can decide to either allow or disallow students to be able to see these groups that you set up. Notably, we have integration with CALI lessons. So depending on what type of course you identify your course to be in the course creation wizard, some CALI lessons get automatically entered into your CALI course, into your TWEN course. So for instance, I obviously chose a lot of the citation type exercises and lessons to be integrated within my course so students have an easy access point to get out to those CALI lessons. Many of you probably use SurveyMonkey as an easy way to poll your students. We're trying to get there. We're not quite there yet. We've just introduced functionality that will allow you to poll your students with unlimited questions and unlimited answers. So towards the middle of the semester, I asked my students if they wanted a final brief extension, which as I pondered typing the question, I thought, is someone really going to say no? But when we view the results, you'll see that 2 people actually did. We won't get into why that was. But you have various different ways to look at your results. The nice thing also about this polling, depending on what you're trying to get at, is that you can tell which students have completed the poll, but you can't know what they voted. So it's a nice class participation kind of look for you. Now you can say, Susie didn't complete any of the polls I asked her to, but if she does, you can't know how she voted either way. I'm not going to go through document quizzes or quizzes. Is anybody using the quizzing functionality here in the room? The predominant use of TWEN, again, is the document pages, the storage, the repository of all of your course documents, and the discussion pages, which I'll get to here in just a moment. Quizzes and document quizzes remain a powerful tool for you. It's just that so many people, especially the way law school exams go, you either have a midterm that's likely an essay, although some schools are moving to multiple choice, and then a final, which is usually essay. And so quizzes aren't necessarily the testing mechanism of choice in law school, so we don't have a ton of usage in this area. But they remain available to you and are actually wonderful tools for you as well. SignUp Sheets is another one of my favorite options. So I'm sure a lot of you have faculty office hours, as I do, and it's hard, especially if you teach more than one class, to coordinate the hours you're offering to class X and class Y. So you can set up sign-up sheets that allow you sort of to keep track electronically of what students have signed up for what slot. So for instance, I offer tutorials for my students. And I said, you can contact me on these days, and then students go in and select and sign themselves up for which session that they'd like to participate in. This can be used for, oral arguments, which side do you want to represent, for potlucks in the classroom, who's going to bring the cookies. There's multiple uses of these. We also see this used, this and the customized polling option, used a lot in student organizations, such as student bar associations or moot court when they're electing their board members. This is a nice way to keep everything sort of integrated in TWEN and have that voting taking place right in here as well.
So how will they do that?
Yes, sir.
How will they do that since that is, the polling is associated with a course, right? Or not?
Yes, sir, it is.
So how is the SBA going to do that?
Yeah, so the SBA, for instance, at many schools has a TWEN course. So course we sort of use in a very loose way. Course is just basically a website. So the SBA or the law review or the moot court has a course for which all of their members are signed up or enrolled in TWEN. And then they would access the customized polling and see a list of all of the potential candidates or people that are running for those spots, and then they vote in there. And then the administrators, who would be maybe a faculty sponsor or something like that, would have the ability to review the results and then declare winners amongst the board. Answer your question, sir? Yes.
Is there the ability to give, say, the SBA president administrator rights? Because at our school, a lot of the administrators are really, they're not posting things for the students and whatnot, so that would be an issue.
Absolutely. Anyone can be an administrator or a co-administrator, and you can have as many of them as you'd like. And if you'd like to, at the end, I'm happy to show you where you would designate co-administrator access. A lot of people put their faculty administrative assistants, you know, co-members of a board, things like that, sort of one after another, so that everybody has the same rights on the site. You're welcome. We also have a web links feature. So let's say you'd like to send your students to Hein Online for a particular legislative assignment that they're working on, or you'd like them to direct them to Lexis or Westlaw. All of that can be done very easily by using a web link. And so you can direct students to URLs and have them chase those links out to the websites that you're going to use and discuss within your course. Yes, sir?
So those that you have up there are just the ones you've customized and selected?
Right, right. And so how I would do that, here's sort of the entry point for that. So if I decided to make one to the CALI conference, I would just title it whatever I'd like, insert the URL, submit save changes. You can also change the order in which the links display. You can also actually, which is a very popular option, you can force each of these titles to become links of themselves on the left. So if you have some website that your course is using so heavily, like as much as they'd be referring to a syllabus, you can force this title to become one of these links on this left navigation here for an easy access point. Yes, sir?
And are you limited to just those spaces?
You know, that's a good question.
Or can you add more than, let's say, the 10 or whatever number is there?
You know, it appears as if, in other words, there's no, you know, add more down here link that gives you more text boxes. I'm afraid to say it appears you're limited to this.
The last bullet, add more links. What are you allowed to text box?
Submit your changes. Oh, very
They'll
good.
submit it, they'll add more.
Thank you, sir. I just joined this team about 5 months ago, so class participation is great. Thank you. And any follow-up from you, sir, before I go to this gentleman? Yes, sir.
So you can add links to the toolbar. Can you remove things if I didn't want to do the customized polling?
Absolutely. That's one of the other very nice things about this left rail is that it's completely customizable for you. So that if you decide that you're not going to, so I'm going into hide and show links. So if you say, I'm never going to use customized polling, I'm going to send it over to the right side. And CALI lessons maybe aren't appropriate for this course that I'm teaching. We're not going to use quizzes. And furthermore, we're not going to use web links. So you submit. And it says, you know, in green, the course links were successfully hidden. And then you come back here and you'll see that this below the fold area for faculty only has grown to include those hidden items. And for what students see here, that list has shrunk. Another really cool feature that I wasn't even aware of until I joined this team, because it's not very prominently displayed on the page, is this area right here. You can tell the system which view to display for you. So if there's ever any concern that maybe students aren't seeing what they're supposed to, or they're seeing too much, you can toggle this radio button here and say, okay, I want to make sure, if you're just unsure, that students aren't seeing my grade book or they aren't seeing the quizzes. And you'll note here, the minute I toggled that switch, it got rid of all of the faculty-only things here. Same thing if you password protect or hide from students certain items, or if you archive items that maybe you're continuing to work on and you don't want your students to see them yet, that's all possible to do. So let me switch back to faculty view here. Anybody ever use SightStation in the room? We've partnered with a few legal research and writing professors across the country to create these SightStation exercises. Again, the use is obviously primarily legal research and writing courses, but instructors can come in here and choose SightStation exercises to add to their course. And forgive me for sort of jumping through things fairly quickly here, but I want to get to what it actually looks like. So they have come up with sort of sample documents, and where appropriate, they have inserted questions that cause the student to have to think about how something should be cited. And then the question sort of comes up right here contextually within the page, and it's a multiple choice option. So let me find a good one here. So, you know, the author has appropriately presented the quotation of the statute above, true or false. You can make the students choose what the appropriate citation is. And the really nice thing about these is that upon completion of the exercise, the system is tracking the students' responses, and the results of these can be imported into your grade book. So if you decided to make these exercises point-worthy or somehow worth credit in your class, the results of these could be imported into your grade book. Thank you, Sarah. And now we're to forums. Forums is our discussion section. It sort of works as like a blog would. And so faculty members may choose to sort of start the class out with, you know, what do you think of the ruling in Pennoyer v. Neff or something? And they would post that as a topic here. And you can see all of the topics I have created over the course of my semester. And then obviously students would have the ability to write back, and that's sort of where the blog-like feature comes in. So I say, you know, classroom changes for the rest of the semester, and then one of my students basically says, are you sure? And then I say, yeah, I'm sure. And so the discussion sort of continues logically here. And obviously these can be very long or very short depending on your use case. We have courses across the country that have 2,000 postings in them. It's a very widely used, especially for remote learners. Yes, ma'am? Do you mean, do you have the ability to archive it, or?
Well, A, you have the ability, B is an archive so that if someone else came in later and was looking for postings that someone made in the discussion group, they would see, especially if, you know, you're asking students, well, what do you think of holding this?
Sure. Yes, you can archive these, and these never disappear unless you choose to archive them.
But the only people that have access to them are the people that are in the class or
That is true unless you allow guest users to come in, or unless you enable more people to sign up for that co-administrative function.
Because I'm thinking in terms of if a student posts an opinion and they're later looking for a job, and somehow
I
the person
understand.
that they're applying for realizes and looks at what they responded in class.
They would not be able to see it unless they had for some reason been given co-administrative or guest access into that area, and that's not likely.
Okay.
But I understand your question now. Thank you for asking. Yes, ma'am.
I was told that the students can post anonymously. How do you do that?
You can, as an administrator, so whoever is the acting course administrator, you can allow for or not allow for anonymous postings. So it's just as simple as, you know, when the student would come in here to post, it just won't list their name.
So it's a blanket thing, they can't pick for each individual post, whether it's anonymous or not. It's either everybody's anonymous or everybody's name appears.
No, for each thread, you have the opportunity to decide whether the topic will be that you can, and those rules that you set as an administrator are listed for you right here. So if you're uncertain as to what you have allowed to occur within this session, you can say, okay, I have designated that anonymous postings are not allowed for this one. But say I had another forum that was called Week 2 discussion, maybe I really want people to be able to post anonymously, you can allow for that. Yes, sir?
So in other words, they have a choice to post anonymously or not?
If you have allowed for them to do so.
But you know, even if they post anonymously at the end of the post, they could just put their name.
Do you mean they would still sign it like thanks Kelly or something? Yeah, I mean, if they choose to do that, then it would become no longer anonymous. Yeah, unanonymous. Non-anonymous, yeah. Yes, sir?
Well, just as a point, we use that as a class feedback thing at the end of the semester, and it was very effective. Everybody posted anonymously, and they were confident in it, and we got some interesting ones.
The gentleman over here, again, and for the tape session, said that they had a successful use of this for class feedback towards the end of the semester, that students were able to come on here and anonymously give their professor and instructor feedback. I just got my feedback back, and they can be eye-opening, can't they? Hopefully you folks will be rating me somewhere today. Okay, so again, those are the sort of big ticket items here. Has anyone seen anything that they'd like to know more about? Anyone using the site now that they feel like they have questions about? Yes, ma'am.
With your, I saw that you can use that digital Dropbox where you can have the students submit their assignment. Is there a way for them to submit those anonymously without their name attached?
Yes, and that again is something that is set up by the administrator. Many people use the anonymous grading feature on TWEN. So they will pick. So if you say as an administrator, I'd like this particular assignment to be submitted anonymously, they will be prompted to enter like a 4-digit sort of ID, an exam ID, and only when the administrator of the course contacts our team will the identities be able to be known to them. So it's an anonymous grading system until it's time to finally need to know who is who. Yes, sir?
Could you show me how the CALI lessons are integrated? No, you mentioned it,
Sure.
I saw the list, but how the instructor integrates that in the course and how the students
Go through the lessons? Absolutely. So because this course was a legal research and writing course, and I designated it as such at the beginning when I created it, I got, I think, 74 of them integrated whether I liked it or not. Now I can obviously go back and say I don't really want those, but if you designate certain sort of topics that you're teaching, you get them wholesale. If you did or you didn't, all you have to do is come in here and click on this button here where it says drop and add CALI lessons, and obviously there are more lessons being added all the time. Again, obviously this is a link that only the administrator would see because I'm in faculty view here. So here is the listing of all of the CALI lessons that we offer, that we have integrated in. And you can see it's as simple as selecting or deselecting the lesson that you choose to add or remove. And then when you have done so, you can see that there's very many of them. Hit submit.
Is that a dynamic list that is if CALI adds a lesson today, it will appear automatically?
Yeah, we get it's an excellent question. The question was, is it a dynamic and constantly evolving list? And the answer to that is yes. We get an email from CALI every week that includes any updates to lessons or new lessons, and I'm not quite certain how long it takes for us to load them onto this list, but I can assure you that it's fairly updated. I'd have to get back to you on as to how long it takes us to load the new materials. So when the students go in to take a lesson, let's do the the Allwood one. They're prompted here. So obviously most schools have the passcode, if you will, to get this far, and then you can see that the new window has opened here, and so the TWEN session remains if they want to toggle back and forth, but they're actually out into CALI right now on the website. Yes, ma'am.
As a follow-up to that, can you choose the option of having them score their CALI lessons? Does it go automatically into your records in TWEN?
I don't know the answer to that, but I know that my colleagues do down at the desk, and so if you'd like to give me your name or stop by, I don't want to put the onus on you to get you the answer, but I know we can get you the answer. Let me show you what the assignment Dropbox looks like, and rather the grade book from my perspective. So these were the names of my 20 students here along the left side, and here was that arbitration research check-in that I spoke of earlier. And so I was actually able to input their scores here. And then this acts as literally a grade book for me over the course of this semester. Here's the batch download feature I was talking about. So instead of clicking on Nicole's name, downloading hers, clicking on Stephen's name, it was terrible, right? I know, it's the bane of my existence. Clicking on download submissions launches you through this fairly straightforward batch downloading procedure. And I think most people these days are familiar with WinZip. And so all it is a WinZip file. You can save it to wherever you'd like, and then open up and grade and comment on the files as you see fit. Yes, sir.
The ability to upload multiple files.
Yes.
I presume that's universal throughout different functions within this system rather than just with this particular piece of it. Am I correct?
Right, so what you were just asking about was the bulk uploading of files, right? And indeed, that is available. If you go to course materials, and instead of adding just one item, you can add multiple items. And that is also a fairly new feature. It actually wasn't new, it was just hidden terribly before, and so it might as well have not been there. Now we've unearthed it, and here you can add more and more and more, just like the web links, as this kind gentleman pointed out. And so if you have, 10 depositions or something you want to add at a time, this is made much easier than one at a time. So I understood you had an interesting session this morning about sort of practical lawyering skills and all these virtual worlds and things like that. Are there any things like that you're looking to TWEN to partner with you, in your courses and to, go into new uncharted territory as far as learning goes? If so, I'm happy to hear those ideas this morning. Anybody use, yes, sir?
Well, I think you mentioned the forums, and one of the things that happens with me is a student will send me an email with a particularly good question.
Yep.
And I think if I'm going to answer your question, I want everybody to know the answer.
Yes.
Is that forum is the way to do that?
I think that's probably the best way to do so. And then you can get commentary and additional feedback from other students, Professor so-and-so, I need some clarification on how you answered Sally's question,
Right.
and then the discussion just keeps on and on and on.
Okay.
We do have a live discussion feature as well. I happen to have used it twice this semester. Obviously, the students are very adept at using instant messaging functionality, and so we partner with Chatblazer to allow for a chat experience within TWEN. And the thing that I particularly like about it is no matter what time you set, you know that not everybody can make it. Life happens, and especially with weekend students, they have families and they're traveling and snow. So the nice thing is you get to choose whether you'd like a transcript to be made of the live chat discussion that occurred on a particular date, so that students who weren't able to join you for the actual session are able to go back and look at and read the transcript at their leisure. This is one of the only parts of the site that isn't accessible to screen readers. So I don't know if any of you are disability coordinators in the office, but we are aiming towards being 508 compliant, but because of this live chat feature, we can't officially say that we are. The transcript, I think the screen readers have a hard time getting through this transcript because of the volume. Obviously, you're answering questions very quickly and the tags on them aren't very good. But if someone were to, like a disability coordinator, for instance, you could open this up, copy it, and throw it into a Word document, and I think be able to make an accommodation for a student so that they could read and catch up with the transcript. It has been tested with JAWS and screen readers and things like that, so that we're confident that anyone with visual limitations, for instance, can participate in the class just as anyone who doesn't have challenges. Yes, ma'am.
I was just wondering, what is the, when I open up my front page, there's an InstaPoll function there. What is that? How does that compare to the customized polling that you were talking about?
Excellent question. Let me just add that little module back to the page so that everyone knows what you're talking about. When I was preparing, I clicked on this edit button and the screen froze, and I'm afraid, okay, good, that didn't happen this time. Okay, so this is the module that she's talking about. Let me save this. So this is what we call InstaPoll. So anybody using the turning point clicker technology in their classrooms, on the, right at the point, anonymous sort of feedback, you can tell if the class is picking up on a particular issue or not. This is sort of our version of that, though clearly not as sophisticated. You can ask one question at a time, and then you can allow students to log in, obviously in TWEN if they have their laptops with them, and answer. You can set up the question and answer, A, B, C, D, or E, true, false, yes, no. It's sort of a quick version of customized polling so that you can gauge whether your students are sort of with you still.
And is it you just click new poll and already set up?
Yeah. But basically what it does is it sort of clears this out, and then you can say, okay, so if you didn't get this, then are you with me on this CFR question or something? And then you can just keep going and going and going.
So are you saying that's something you can set up in the middle of class, or you have to be anticipating it before you walk in?
This is something that you can do right, you're thinking like, I'm getting a lot of blank stares, I need some feedback before I think I'm going too quickly or too slowly. This is something you do sort of right in the middle of it. The customized polling, on the other hand, is something where you have to thoughtfully write out the question, choose the best answers, and then that's sort of meant for an out-of-class experience.
Would it take too long to walk through one of those questions?
No, not at all. So basically what I'd say to you, does everyone love TWEN? And then maybe you'd say yes or no. And then I'd say, okay, let me view the results. And then if anyone had voted, the results would come in here. And then I say, okay, if you don't like TWEN, why is it? And then there'd be 5 choices that I'd present to you, and then it'd be time to vote A, B, C, D, or E. And what you do is just close this out back here, and then new poll. And so it's going to ask you, it's going to say, are you ready to reset what you just saw? If so, then let's go to vote the next time, and then you can view the results over and over and over again. Now, you have the ability to view them before you release them. So if you're just flabbergasted that no one is getting anything, or they've all answered incorrectly, you wouldn't even have to release the results for the other students to see what the polling results were.
I think you said a term release or something, results. Can you keep historically all the results so that after class you can sort of debrief yourself?
Not in InstaPoll. InstaPoll is meant to be like really quick, like in theory less important stuff. But customized polling is there forever. You can ask 30 questions over the course of the semester and gauge students' progress, for instance, and that's there forever. Yes, sir.
At one point, I was approached by the university office that deals with other kind of web instruction technologies.
Sure.
They wanted to help us by working with West so that they could upload the students in each class from the master server
Yes.
for the university. And are there any plans to possibly put something in place that would allow universities to do that rather than having the faculty member either put them in one by one or the students self-enrolling?
Sure. So it's an excellent question. The question is, obviously institutions have really large student information systems, and is there any plan, or are there any plans on the TWEN Thompson side to integrate with those systems so as to have people already enrolled in these classes by virtue of them being in torts with Professor Devitt or whatever, as opposed to the faculty member having to do so or the student having to self-enroll? And to make a long story short, the answer is yes, we'd love to. It again goes back to that integration with how much development time it's going to take for us to integrate with the many different kinds of systems there are in the country. We would love to do so, and if schools, if there's anyone in the audience that has a distinct need for this or a distinct desire, it'd be great for you to approach me or one of my colleagues, and we can also obviously talk to you further about seeing what it would take to make that happen. Thank you for your question. Yes, sir.
We're just going to add to that, iTunes integrates back to schools' authentication systems. Perhaps Westlock could look at that as kind of a
model. Absolutely. Yeah, we've got some smart developers, but we always take the advantage of borrowing what other people have done well and trying to implement that in ours. How about Facebook? I understand that Blackboard just instituted a module so as to say if they're out on Facebook, they can implement a Blackboard module, whereas they could be looking at their friend's profile, but they would get up to the minute sort of updates on what their Blackboard course is doing. And so do anybody using that at their school, or anybody think that that would be a wise idea? Yes, ma'am.
We're using it at our school, but the feedback we're getting is the students don't want to sit in their Facebook.
Well, that's fair. Feedback is that maybe the students don't want the school or the course in their Facebook. And to be clear, the integration would, in my opinion, be one way. In other words, you wouldn't be in TWEN or Blackboard and suddenly be getting Facebook stuff in here, because we want to sort of keep those institutions separate. But for those users who chose to do so out on their Facebook site, they could import the Blackboard or perhaps TWEN module to allow them to see what's going on in their course life as opposed to their personal life. Yes, sir?
I have two quick questions. Could you go over a little bit between archiving and copying course, why you use one or the other? And any, we've had some problems where people get stuff and they swear they didn't. Might not be really. And also, if you have, I know you can answer this, but do you have any sort of feedback or any guidance about copyright issues? I've talked to Wes and said, I've talked to people that said if it's on West's wall, you can grab it and put it in 20.
That's correct.
But we have a lot of times, somebody sees an article in the New York Times that just came out, and we sort of redo those kind of things. And
sure.
We just hope it's fair use. Well, actually, we don't get caught.
Yeah, that's fair. So the gentleman in the the gentleman has two questions. The first one I will handle, and then I'll try to remember the second. The first is, can I explain the difference between archiving and copying and updating a course? And to your credit, it is fairly complicated, and we need to do something about that to make it easier. If you copy a course, so let's say this gentleman here is teaching legal research and writing or property, and this nice lady next to him is also teaching a very close version of the same course, but obviously just a little different. One of you or the two of you together could collaborate to build a robust course that has all the materials that you need in it, and then you just copy a version of that course for the other professor. And then you can obviously customize that as you see fit. But there would be no need for two of you to go in and basically do the same thing. So copy maintains, it is true to the word, and that it maintains the original version and then creates a copy. The updating feature is what gets people into trouble, and we're actually thinking about discontinuing the use of that. So I've just taught this course in spring of 2008. If I select update instead of copy, it wipes everything out. I can no longer get back to spring 2008 at Hamlin. It has now morphed and become my fall 2008 course, and you can't actually get back to any of that stuff. So I'm not sure if that answers your question. Your folks are probably doing the best they could and just got confused with the terminology that we've been using and that we quite frankly need to do something about. Your second question, if you're ready for me to move on, was about copyright. You're correct in saying that anything you find on Westlaw is obviously fair game to be posted in any capacity here. Your specific example about New York Times articles, of course we carry the New York Times on Westlaw, so that too would be okay. Other things that we don't carry on Westlaw, I'm afraid I don't know the answer to that, but I think that my colleagues might know downstairs. Anybody else in the audience know the question or know the answer?
You have to deal with the copyright issues, whether you have an exception or not.
You have to deal with the copyright issues,
Yeah, West
whether
isn't
you.
protecting you there.
Yeah. I had a feeling that was the answer, but when I don't know, I just tell you I don't know instead of being disingenuous and making something up here. So it doesn't help anybody. Yes, ma'am.
Can you show us how to force a link over to the left?
Yeah, like for instance, if you wanted to send people to Hein Online or something, sure. So that functionality again is located in web links. And when you go into modify web links, you can see this step here where it says display the web links in the left navigation for this course. So it's simple as just checking this. The problem is right now there's a limitation. It's all or nothing. You can't say I want Hein Online but not Westlaw. That's future development for us. We've gotten some feedback, of course, that people would like to pick and choose what they send over there to the left navigation. And so as soon as we are able to do that, you might see that in a course coming soon. I'd like to briefly just chat about the support that we offer for TWEN. We pride ourselves in the support that we offer. So at all of the law schools in the country, whether they use TWEN or not, we have obviously dedicated academic account managers that assist people with Westlaw training, TWEN training, casebook resources, whatever the case may be. So you have a dedicated on-site academic account manager that's hopefully been assisting you and that you know the name and face of. So he or she could obviously answer many questions about TWEN. We also have obviously myself and my TWEN team that are based out of Eagan. We can only do so much based out of Eagan, Minnesota, but obviously that's why we have our dedicated local reps. We have 25 or 26 dedicated customer technical support specialists that are available 24 hours, 7 days a week. We also have the reference attorneys, which I know many of you are familiar with, that predominantly provide, I can't find this database on Westlaw, can you show me how to, create the best terms and connectors search, but also are well versed in TWEN and can assist you should you have issues that your local account representative cannot help you with. So if any of you, are thinking about using TWEN or have a TWEN course and you have questions about copyright or what the difference between updating and archiving and copying is, you have many opportunities to get the answers that you need, and I am confident that the local rep can help you, and if the local rep can't, then they escalate it, of course, up to the home office. Yes, sir.
Our account representative has scheduled an update for librarians at our place.
Yes.
Because she said that as of July 1st, there are going to be a number of changes to TWEN. Are you at liberty to tell us a quick few sentences as to what might encompass?
Sure. You're actually seeing the new TWEN right here. This is live. We had a release actually on June 5th, June 8th. It just seems like eons ago now. There were a few issues with the release. People are sort of laughing. Maybe you're the ones that have been calling me, and for that I apologize. We'll talk later. With every release, we have issues, but I think those folks that have reached out to say, I'm not thrilled with the way this is working now, or I can't find the way I used to do this, we've been able to hook up with you folks and make sure that we get you the answers that you need. So on July 1st or after might be just when your academic account manager has decided to provide the update, but you could today go out and look at all of those changes for yourself. The beauty of TWEN, has been around for 10 or 12 years now, is that we have a ton of people using it. But that's also a curse because it makes it very difficult to find the right time to make enhancements to the site so that it's the least disruptive for people. And we thought we chose wisely, but I think we sort of missed the mark even by a week. So people had sort of set up their courses and everyone comes to class and is using TWEN, and then they come to school the next day and it looks different. And it could be, there's probably some usability issues that we need to clean up. There were a few programmatic bugs, and a lot of it also is just people being averse to change. And that happens to me. Like this machine right here has Microsoft Word 2007. I have no clue how to use it. I was sort of cursing at myself before we began because it's on me because the company is sort of moving to that and I haven't taken the time to learn it yet. So with every release we have, there are programmatic, design, and change issues that we all must work through. So if you should find anything that's not working to your liking, that's when you sort of partner with your academic account manager or escalate it up to the home office. To minimize the change aversion, we actually did have a beta period this spring. Many of you might have participated in that. There were a few drawbacks with the beta process, and we hope to remedy that next time. So ideally, a beta would be if you had a spring 2008 course and you wanted to test that out in beta with the new changes to see how it works. That would really sort of be the best way to do it, so you could see how it worked before, how it's going to work now. And then, once you fooled around with it, you could take it with you. In other words, you wouldn't just leave it there on the beta site. If you put a lot of time into it, you'd take it with you and look forward to fall 2008. Neither of those things were achieved in the beta. So in other words, you had to basically create a course from scratch in order to play around with the new stuff. And then we didn't allow you to take it with you. Now, it wasn't like we didn't think of any of these things. It was just from a development perspective, it would have cost who knows how much more money to be able to have you to do those two things. And it just wasn't, frankly, within our development resources to do so. But because we heard the feedback from people saying, the beta was helpful, but it still wasn't ideal for my purposes, maybe by the time the next beta comes, you'll see those two additions or better functionality in the beta that will allow you to import things out and then take things with you. Did you have a follow-up, sir? No?
I do have another.
All right.
Do you expect to up that 200 meg storage level at some point, so faculty, if they want to put videos up, will have enough space? I envisioned if a faculty member wanted to upload videos, they might just create links on that page to what they put on YouTube, but on the other hand, if it's them speaking, sometimes they don't want the rest of the world to see them.
Sure. The question was, does the TWEN team envision sort of increasing the storage limit that we provide now? We haven't had many people that have even come close yet, but as the technology world changes and people are podcasting and webinaring up the wazoo, we'll need to meet them and allow them to post those things. Interestingly enough, does anybody use Echo 360, our partners down there, Tegrity, any of these podcasting systems at their schools? Sir, can I ask you which one that is?
Tegrity.
Tegrity, okay. We are actually integrating with Tegrity very soon, and as you might know. So soon, for those schools who have a subscription or are partners with Tegrity, which is a podcasting system, they'll actually see only for that school the Tegrity link over here. which will then have all of their course lectures basically streaming live from within TWEN. So I know those can be expensive services, and a lot of people use sort of homegrown podcasting type things that wouldn't necessarily be hosted by Integrity or a Vox Populi or many of the other kinds of products in that space. So to your point, we're going to have to make sure we meet you in providing you the right space should you choose to upload them yourself. Well, it's been my pleasure having you here today. Thank you for your attention and your participation. I'm here all day, as are my great teammates. They're actually the brains behind a lot of this. So for any of you that had questions that I wasn't able to answer for you, please take me up on the offer to come down and we'll get you that answer, because I don't want to just push you aside. Thank you again for your attention. Okay. Thank you again so much for your help today. Make sure I give you all those things back. Okay. Yes, sir. Yeah, what do you call that thing? The dongle? Yeah, that's cool. I got to get up with all the lingo or else I'm going to get left behind, you know? Thank you so much again. Hi.
You may want to touch Mike.
I saw something.
She was standing there.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
I thought so, yeah. I thought so too.
Oh, what school? Oh, wonderful. Okay.
And you know, that was just because Blackboard.
Well, there's, yeah, I mean, Blackboard is really big in the undergraduate stuff, but TWEN is.
Somebody was saying before that they told their wife that Thompson was a designer. It's designer. It's Thompson.
One time I got a ride to the airport, and the driver, I mean, I could tell the sun was bothering his eyes.
They do. They have
he
web
didn't have
courses
sunglasses.
through Lexis.
So at the end of the ride, I gave my here's my designer Heinemann sunglasses.
There you go.
So, there's a whole thing of a course site for the organization. Does the faculty and administrators on that side? That is a faculty or staff?
No, students can be the only. Absolutely, they can. Yep.
Oh, that's in the bag?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, they absolutely can. They can add as many co-administrators as they like to. Students can absolutely Right, so long as they have a Westlaw password, which they would by virtue of being in the law school, they're free to create anything they like.
It wasn't there. Yeah,
And
so
then the
that.
other movement, at the end of a course, the professor will want to send us archive course, but just make sure to like save all the documents that they can post it. Is there a way to backtrack those?
Excellent question. Unfortunately, no. We have had so much feedback. Like, I wish I could just basically take the whole thing and then put it on my note drive or put it on my desktop. We're not there yet. We're just not there yet.
No, that's fine. I mean, I just thought I'd ask this, then I'd be an official.
No, your questions are
The
fair.
faculty assistants call me, and they're like, can we just download these all at once? I'm like, no, but have fun with those individuals.
Yeah, the batch download is a huge win. It's a quick win, but we're still not at the point where we need to be, which is being able to basically transport a robust, finished course and swap it somewhere. But the archive function, that's there for posterity. I mean, no one's in there mucking around with that. That's there forever, unless they decide to choose otherwise. Yeah, it was my pleasure. Yeah, you're most welcome. Yes, sir.
Can I give you the name of the person on our staff who was asking that question?
Absolutely. What school are you from, sir?
University of Baltimore.
Oh, okay. Well, right up the street.
Guy's name is Terry Ross.
Yes.
Terry Ross at google.edu.
Will you allow me just to grab my bag here?
I grabbed one. I knew CALI needed one. It's just then I looked at the size of it. It was, it was so tiny.
So Terry Ross, you said?
I think it was like 20. I thought maybe around this week.
Sure.
Well, this is sort of the answer I gave here. I mean, that doesn't quash the discussion, but there's so many different systems, and we do what we do almost on a shoestring budget. Despite Thompson being this huge mothership, TWEN actually is a very smaller component of that. There's only 6 software developers, and they can only code as fast as their little fingers can. So. Yes, sir. And there's the back-end integration with the student system, so that everybody can be included in the class without having to intervene themselves.
Yeah, the reason that is to a certain extent that's actually one of the things that I had this code is that I have a few big memory cards and I can still even for my inbox. It's like, what's taking up?
Oh, okay. Sure. Okay.
Yeah, I got all the it's real hard on this.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
They use like something that
Yeah. No, that is true. It is a shortcoming. However, I mean, the right answer. Yeah, well, they do. The shortcoming is obviously is remedied by the fact that the accountant